All right, good afternoon. I'm Aaron Heiser of Maker's Leather Supply, and today we're going to talk about using alligator as an inlay, okay? And the same goes for like caiman and stuff like that. But I have right here some alligators. But anyway, we're in the middle of making our canteen purse, and this one does have an alligator inlay in it, and the one I'm going to make in the build video will also have alligator. And as I started to explain to one of my employees about how I select the area of the alligator and which alligator to use and stuff, I thought, man, that probably would be good information for other folks as well, because I had a lot of talking points on it. So anyway, I've laid out a couple here, and I'm going to talk about my process, and hopefully this helps somebody that's wanting to get into doing something like this, but is a little bit nervous on where to start. So here we go. All right, so here on this big old 6-foot table, I have laid out probably a 10-foot alligator, maybe even bigger. He's a pretty good sized guy. Anyway, but I want to use it to inlay this bag right here. Okay, so that circle right there is what I am most concerned with as far as what area of the alligator am I going to use. Okay, and I take a few things into consideration. This alligator is a really big guy, obviously. He's a good almost 2 feet across probably, and again, very, very long, but I need a 7-inch circle out of him. And when I look at an alligator to use for such a thing, I have to take some things into account. Much like when we tool a pattern into leather, or even when we do our stitching, the size of the project is going to dictate the size of what you're doing, okay? So this particular piece has some, medium to small size flowers and leaves and stuff, but this alligator here has giant tiles, okay? Now, I could cut out a piece of this gator and put it in there, and none the wiser, most people would look at it and be like, oh, that looks pretty good. But if I had an appropriate sized alligator, then it would look a lot better, okay? So in comparison, once again, there's the blue one. See how the smaller tiles just look more attractive in there, okay? There's a lot more to it. And I mean, okay, the color's really nice too. We're not worried about that right this minute. But the size of the tiles is going to be something that's important here, okay? So as an example too, like my watch band, I cut this from up in the neck and underneath the chin of the alligator, for lack of a better word, and its tiles are very, very small, okay? So one this size, I would use him on the side of a large bag or something like that, or possibly even make a bag out of him as opposed to just inlaying. So I'll show you what a more appropriate alligator for this project looks like. Okay, so we get this big old huge one out of the way, and oh look, it's baby gator. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in just a little bit on him so that we really get a good view of what we're looking at. Too much. Sorry, I'm still learning to use this silly tablet for a... Oh my gosh. All right, there we go. Okay, now, when I put this same ring somewhere like here, now look at all those tiles. They look really, really nice. It fills the area nicely, and the tiles aren't overbearing compared to the rest of the size of the project, okay? Now, when I am using an alligator like this, the prime of the gator is right here, between these two hands and right there. That's the most sought after part of this guy's belly, okay? And this is his belly. He was cut down the back so that his belly was spared. There's also back cut, which is where they cut him down the belly, and then you have the horns and stuff. And you don't see that near as often because it's just not as desirable. It looks really cool on some projects, but for the most part, they'll be belly cut like this so that the belly is saved, all right? So just to go through a gator this size, this is what I normally use, is one it's about this size. He's about 14, 15 inches wide. And yeah, so once again, I cut all my watch bands and things like that out of this area up here where the tiles are so small. Okay, and then usually when I'm doing wallets or something, like I kept this wallet out. This is one I made out of an old blue gator some time ago. But normally I'll go right down this doing wallets or whatever I'm doing. And if I've got one that's just wide enough that I can do it, I may move my wallet over to where one side of it is these really nice tiles, and then the other side is just that not as desirable side piece there that the tiles aren't as nice. Okay, and that saves you a lot of gator. I mean, these things aren't cheap. I, for years, was very afraid to cut into an alligator, but now I can't wait to cut. I've got a whole box full of them, and I'm like, which one can I use for this project? Anyway, I say all that. When you're doing belts and things like that, they'll usually come out of the tail section, okay? And there's even ways to splice an alligator tail section to where you can't even tell that maybe I could get a belt twice that long by splicing right in between those tiles and putting two pieces together and making it look like it's one long continuous belt. And that's for another video on another day. But anyway, you do try to use every piece of this guy that you can, because once again, it's very expensive. So, I mean, even down to making nice key fobs and things like that out of, his arms and stuff. I always wanted to find something, his elbows. These ones are both tore, but I've got lots of elbows that, I mean, honestly, you could almost cover a rubber ball with his elbow because it's formed that way. And I've never tried anything like that, but I just think it'd be fun to do. But anyway, again, the size of your alligator piece is going to dictate what size of a project you should use it on. And then other than that, like I said, you're going to try to use as much of it as you can on as many projects as you can, because of course you're trying to get a good return for your money, but you also want to make the best projects that you can. So unfortunately on this guy, I'm going to cut that ring right there, and of course I have to cut it larger than the hole you see, so I'll cut it out about a ½ inch larger all the way around, so a full inch larger than the circle. And then when we do that build video, my employee that's gonna build it with me has also tooled his own ring, and he's gonna get his out of right there. So that's about all I've got to say about that. These gators came from Vaughan Gator. He's down in Florida. I've talked about him during many of my walk around videos at the leather shows and stuff. When I need an alligator, he is who I go to first. He's a great guy. He's got great stuff. But the only time I buy a gator that didn't come from him is if maybe he doesn't have the color or finish that I'm looking for. This one, I don't remember if it was called peanut butter or peanut brittle, but I know the word peanut was in it. And I have it in a couple of different sizes, because my initial intention was to make like a large tote out of the big one and then like a matching wallet or something out of the smaller one. But anyway, that's my big old spiel on using gators. Don't be afraid to cut into it, but once you're ready to cut into it, make dang sure that you've got your pieces placed exactly where you want them, because you're not, unlike just a big plain piece of edge tan, there's only one section that looks like this. So you don't want to mess up and accidentally cut it wrong, and then now you got to do something else. All right? So that's all I have to say about that. I will leave the contact information for Vaughan Gators in the comments. That way you can get a hold of them and look around on their website and see if there's something you like. Have a great day.